I knew something was off the second Dana clinked her glass. Everyone turned to look at her, smiling like she was about to say something sweet about our 18 years together. But no. She smiled wide and said, "We're celebrating more than just our anniversary tonight. My mom's moving in with us for good. My name's Rick. I'm 46. I live just outside Tampa in a house I paid for, mostly with the money I got after my uncle passed. That house was my pride. Not just because it was mine on paper, but because I built a life there, with Dana. Or at least, I thought I did." Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. Now, everyone's clapping, like this is some big promotion. I just stood there, gripping my beer tighter than I meant to. Eileen, the woman who's hated me since the day I met her, was moving in. Dana didn't even look at me before making the announcement. Didn't ask, didn't warn me, just dropped it like a firecracker in the middle of our backyard. Eileen raised her glass like she just won a prize. "We'll be making a few changes around here," she said, loud enough for the front row to hear. "Starting with the den. I need a space to stretch out. The same den I built out myself. Pulled up the carpet, rewired the outlets, put in those shelves by hand. My recliner sat in the corner where the light hit just right in the mornings. That was my space. Or, at least, it used to be. And Dana, she just stood there beaming like this was her big moment. Not a single glance my way, not a word to check in. I looked around and saw all our friends and her co-workers smiling, clapping, nodding like this was sweet. It wasn't sweet. It was a setup. Eileen gave me that tight little smirk she always wears when she thinks she's won something. I could already hear her voice in my head nitpicking everything. How I mowed the lawn, how I spoke too loud, how I ate like a teenager. She once told me, "It's sweet Dana handles the finances. Not every man's okay being taken care of." And Dana just laughed like it was cute. This wasn't a surprise. It was a warning shot. But I was ready. I smiled back, stood up slow, reached under my chair, and pulled out the folder I'd tucked away that morning. "Funny you mention changes," I said, holding it up. Dana froze, smile twitching. Eileen tilted her head. I looked at the crowd and said, "I've got something to announce too." I didn't open the folder right away, just held it there, let the weight of it settle in the air while everyone stared. But in my head, I was already 2 weeks back. It started with Dana acting weird, real twitchy, leaving the room when I walked in, flipping her phone over every time it buzzed. She said she and her mom were planning something special for our anniversary. I figured maybe a trip or a dinner with family, something halfway decent. But then she started dodging questions, like flat out ignoring me when I asked what she was doing on her tablet, or why she and Eileen were suddenly attached at the hip. I wasn't snooping. I wasn't looking to trap her. But when she left her tablet on the couch unlocked while she ran upstairs, yeah, I looked. Subject line, move-in plan, pull ownership transfer. My stomach turned. I opened the thread. There were 10 emails back and forth between her and Eileen. Dana had written, "I'll tell him at the party. He won't make a scene with people around. Once mom's in and settled, I'll push to get his name off the mortgage." I read that twice, 3 times. Just sat there with the tablet in my lap, feeling like I'd been punched straight through the ribs. They weren't just inviting Eileen to stay. They were planning to cut me out of my own damn house. I didn't sleep that night. Didn't say a word to Dana. Next morning, I called a real estate attorney. Told him everything. The house was in my name only. Title, deed, mortgage, everything. I'd bought it with inheritance money, paid off most of it already. He said I had full control. If I wanted to sell, I could. So I did. Within days, I had the place listed. A woman named Mary Ann came in for a showing that Thursday. I kept it quiet, scheduled it while Dana was running errands with Mom. She loved the house, made a cash offer on the spot. I signed the agreement that afternoon. I found a condo across town, 2-bedroom, top floor, view of the water, paid cash, and started moving. Real slow, quiet, a few boxes at a time. Kept my tools, my fishing gear, my recliner, left the stuff Dana liked, the wedding china, the antique mirror she loved, that ugly-ass love seat Eileen always sat on. Ty was the only one I told. He showed up late at night with his truck and a thermos of coffee. We loaded stuff up while the neighborhood was asleep. I didn't even take the garage door opener, left that sitting on the kitchen counter. By the weekend before the party, everything was done. Condo was ready, utilities switched, mail forwarded. I even stocked the fridge and threw in some wings and beer just to make it feel like home. I slept like a baby for the first time in months. Then came party day. I ironed my shirt, shaved, showed up like nothing was different. Dana greeted guests like she was throwing a charity gala. Eileen was already sipping wine by the time I walked out into the yard. They thought they had me boxed in. Thought I'd sit there like a good little husband while they announced their power grab. And, yeah, I almost did. Part of me still couldn't believe it was real. How fast someone you trusted could turn on you like that. But the folder under my chair reminded me exactly who I was dealing with. I flipped open the folder, real slow. You could feel the air shift. This, I said, holding up the first page, is a signed sales agreement. This house, it's sold. Silence. Like someone had hit mute on the whole backyard. I sold it last week. Full cash offer. Buyer takes full possession next Friday. Paperwork's already filed. Dana blinked, like I was speaking a language she'd never heard. Her mouth opened, closed, then opened again. You, what? You sold the house? Without talking to me? Eileen dropped her wine glass. Didn't even hit the concrete. Landed in the flower bed and spilled red all over her beige heels. She just stood there, staring at me like I'd pulled out a gun. Oh, I said, keeping my voice nice and calm. I thought we were making massive changes without discussing them now. Isn't that the theme? Ty coughed into his beer, trying not to laugh. Eileen's voice cracked. You can't just sell it. This is Dana's home. No, I said. This is my house. I bought it with my inheritance. It's in my name only. Always has been. Dana looked like she'd swallowed a brick. Rick, you can't be serious. What about our stuff? What about the party? Oh, don't worry, I said. You've got until next Friday. Plenty of time to pack. Right then, the doorbell rang. Everyone's head snapped toward the front of the house. I let it ring again. Then I set my drink down, straightened my shirt, and walked through the kitchen. When I opened the door, Mary Ann Blake was standing there, cool as ever. Black pantsuit, leather folder in hand, not even breaking a sweat. I stepped aside and waved her in. Everyone, meet Mary Ann Blake. She owns the house now. She walked in like she'd done it 100 times. Gave a polite smile. Evening. Just here for the final walkthrough before transfer. But, congratulations. Beautiful send-off party. Murmurs rippled through the guests. People shifted, looking at Dana, looking at me, looking back at the woman who now owned the place. A few folks tried to casually walk their drinks toward the side gate. Eileen looked like she might faint. This is a joke. It has to be. You're bluffing. No bluff, Mary Ann said, flipping open her folder and holding up the title transfer. Filed with the county on Wednesday. Dana finally found her voice. You can't just do this? We didn't even talk about this. I turned to her, arms crossed. You were gonna talk to me at the party, remember? Once your mom was settled in, thought I wouldn't make a scene. Her eyes widened. Yeah, I cut her off. I read the emails. You weren't planning a surprise move-in. You were planning a takeover. Only I beat you to it. Ty stepped up beside me, nodding slowly like a proud coach after a touchdown. Tried to tell you, Dana. You don't outmaneuver a man who built the house with his own hands. Dana turned to Eileen, almost pleading. Say something. Eileen's voice was thin. This is a stunt. No way this holds up. You didn't have my daughter's consent. I laughed. I didn't need it. You think you're co-owner of something you never paid for? House was mine before you even knew the street name. A guy from Dana's job backed toward the patio. I think I left something in my car. 3 other people followed him. Mary Ann stepped forward. Rick, if you'd like to show me the den, I'd love to get a sense of how the light hits in the morning. Oh, I said. That den's yours now, though you'll probably want to repaint. Eileen already had plans for it. Eileen opened her mouth, closed it again, then walked over to grab her purse like she might vanish into it. Mary Ann gave her a little smile. Don't worry, I won't touch the recliner. It's staying. Ty almost choked on his drink. I walked toward the hallway with Mary Ann, but before I turned the corner, I looked back at Dana. Her face was blank, mouth tight, eyes glossy but dry. I held up the folder again. Next time you plan a mutiny, try not leaving the battle map open on the coffee table. Dana stepped forward, voice shrill now. Where are we supposed to live? I shrugged. I don't know, maybe with your mom. Or you can rent the place from Mary Ann. She's open to it. Eileen whipped around, face already twisted. I'm not paying rent. I'm not some freeloader. No? I asked, tilting my head. Because that was the plan, wasn't it? You two were going to evict me and take over. That's a lie, Eileen snapped. I pulled another sheet from the folder. Printed it last week. Email from Dana's account. Want to read it out loud, or just skip to the part where you pushed to get my name off the mortgage? Eileen's hand shot up like she might grab it, but I pulled it back. Mary Ann stepped in, calm as ever. If you do want to stay, though, I'll need first and last month's rent up front. no exceptions. Dana looked at her mom, voice shaky. Do you have that? Eileen spun around. Do I? You said Rick wouldn't fight this. You said we'd be settled before he even noticed. Dana's eyes welled up, but no tears came. She turned back to me. How long have you been planning this? I picked up my drink again. Since I found the email thread. So, what, 2 weeks ago? A murmur rippled through the crowd. Some people had started quietly walking toward the gate. A couple neighbors looked straight up embarrassed to have accepted the invite. The buffet table stood untouched, and someone's toddler started crying from the back corner. I can't believe you'd go behind my back like this, Dana said, voice low now, like maybe she realized how loud she'd been. Right, I said, because you were so upfront. He won't make a scene. Remember that line? Or, how about, once Mom's in and settled, I'll push to get his name off the mortgage. I read every word. Dana stepped back like I'd slapped her. Eileen opened her mouth again, but Marianne cut in first. Look, I don't want drama. If you two want to apply to rent, we can talk, but I'll need paperwork by Monday. Otherwise, I'll be showing the place to other tenants by Wednesday. Ty leaned against the wall with his arms crossed, nodding slowly. Told you, man. Always keep receipts. Dana looked at me again. You already moved out? Yup. Where? Condo across town. Furnished. Fridge is stocked. Views better. Her jaw hung slack. So, all of this, the party, you planned it? No, you planned the party. I just waited for my cue. She shook her head, whispering, You've really been planning this? The moment you planned to cut me out, yeah. Eileen turned, wild-eyed. This is still our home. You can't just toss 18 years in the trash. I took a step forward. You never wanted a home. You wanted control, and Dana let you run wild in my house. Dana opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Just this hollow look, like she didn't even recognize what room she was standing in anymore. Marianne tucked the paperwork back in her folder. I'll be in touch Monday morning. If I don't hear from you, I'll assume you're not staying. More guests slipped out the gate. A wine glass clinked onto the patio table. The music, which had been playing quietly in the background, finally clicked off. I turned to Ty and held up my glass. Think it's safe to say we're done here. Eileen's voice cracked through the silence. You went further than we agreed. I thought we were all going to live here. Dana spun around, caught off guard. I was going to, later, once you were settled. Eileen's face went red. You played me, she snapped. Just like you played him? Dana's tone turned sharp, panicked. Don't act like you weren't in on it. You were the one who kept pushing me to take control. Said Rick didn't appreciate me. Said I needed to protect myself. I didn't raise you to lie like this, Eileen muttered, voice shaking with fury. You went behind my back just like you went behind his. She threw her napkin onto the table and stormed toward the side gate. Every step of her heels hit like a hammer. The crowd parted without a sound. No one tried to stop her. Dana just stood there, frozen in the middle of the yard, surrounded by half-empty wine glasses and the awkward shuffle of people who suddenly didn't know where to look. The lights from the rented string bulbs flickered across her face, and for a second, she looked like a stranger in her own life. Ty walked over, holding 2 beers. He handed me one. You really did it, he said quietly. Yeah, I said, cracking it open. And I'm not done yet. He took a sip, raised an eyebrow. What's next? Divorce papers are ready, I told him. She'll get them by Monday. Ty whistled low. You move fast. Had to, I said. She was already halfway to cutting me out. I just finished the job. Across the yard, Dana finally moved. She grabbed at the tablecloth, trying to straighten it like that might fix something. Her hands were shaking. One of the centerpieces tipped over, spilling wax and water onto the grass. She just stared at it. A couple of her friends tried to comfort her, but she brushed them off. Everyone can go, she said, voice cracking. Party's over. Someone coughed. Another person muttered, yikes, and headed for the gate. Within minutes, the yard was almost empty. Just a few people lingering by the fence, pretending not to stare. Dana turned toward me, eyes rimmed red. You didn't have to humiliate me. I took a drink. You didn't have to betray me. That's not what this was, she said, voice rising again. It wasn't betrayal. It was, what? Strategy, partnership. I stepped closer. You plotted with your mother to kick me out of the house I paid for. That's not marriage. That's mutiny. She shook her head, tears finally spilling. I just wanted something that was ours. Then you should have fought with me, not against me. Ty clapped a hand on my shoulder. Come on, man. Let's get out of here. I nodded, but before I left, I looked back at Dana one last time. She was standing there alone, lights flickering above her, the perfect picture of a plan gone to hell. It was close to midnight at my new condo when I heard a knock on the sliding door. Dana stepped out onto the back deck, arms crossed, hoodie zipped all the way up, like she was bracing for a storm. Her eyes were puffy, mascara smudged. She didn't say anything at first, just stood there. "Can we talk?" she finally asked. I didn't nod, didn't say yes, just kicked out the chair across from me. She took it. The yard was almost completely dark now, just the glow from the kitchen window and the faint buzz of the string lights we never turned off. She looked tired, not party tired, worn down tired, like the weight of the night finally sat square on her shoulders. "I messed up," she said. I didn't say anything. She kept going. "Mom pushed hard. You know how she is, always in my ear, always making me feel like I wasn't enough, like I was letting her down, letting you run everything. You didn't have to listen to her." "I know." She rubbed her hands together. "I started resenting how you made decisions. The bills, the house stuff, even little things like where we went on vacation. I felt like I didn't matter anymore. You weren't sidelined," I told her. "You just stopped showing up." Her eyes snapped to mine. "That's not fair." "It's exactly fair. You checked out, Dana. I was still here, still fixing broken pipes and paying taxes and mowing the damn lawn while your mom criticized how I held a rake." She shook her head. I don't know. I thought maybe if we took control, if Mom and I had something, we'd feel like we had power again. So your big plan was to gut me out of my own life?" I wasn't thinking straight. "No," I said. "You were thinking selfish. And don't act like it was just your mom. You hit send on those emails. You signed on to that plan." She wiped her face. A tear hit the table between us. "I didn't want to hurt you. You wanted to win," I said. "That's what this was. You saw your mom's approval as a prize and you went after it. I was lost, Rick. You could have said that. I'd have helped you find your way back. But you didn't say a word. You plotted." She sat back, shoulders slumping. After a long pause, she asked it, soft, like it hurt her to even say the words. "Is there any chance we can fix this?" I stared at her for a second. Not out of confusion, just making sure she really meant it. "Nope," I said flat. She winced. "You had the house. You had me. And you tried to play both sides like it was a game. But I'm not a game piece. Game's over." She opened her mouth, then closed it. Nothing else to say. I stood up, walked to the door, and slid it open. "Lock up when you're done." She nodded, eyes down, and I stepped inside without looking back. 1 week later, I was on the balcony of my new condo, cold beer in hand, watching the water turn orange with the sunset. The breeze came off the bay just right. Quiet, clean, no nagging voices behind it. Dana and Eileen were stuck in a 2-bedroom rental on the edge of town. I didn't know the address, didn't care to. Marianne moved fast. She had new tenants in by Thursday. Young couple. Paid the deposit in full, no drama. House was out of my hands, and so was everything that came with it. Dana sent a couple texts. "Can we talk? I just want closure." I didn't answer. My lawyer handled the rest. We had everything lined up. Divorce, division of property, the works. Nothing left to talk about. I kept what mattered, the truck, the tools, my name, and the peace. Ty showed up around 7 with a bag of wings and a 12-pack. We set up in camp chairs right there on the balcony. My TV sat on the floor inside, still not on a stand. Didn't matter. We weren't watching it anyway. He cracked a beer, raised it toward me. To peace and quiet, I raised mine back. To not getting screwed over. We clinked and sat back. No rush to fill the silence. That was the point. I wasn't angry anymore, not even bitter, just done. I didn't burn anything down. I didn't scream or throw plates or trash her reputation. I just took the exit, nice and clean. All I ever wanted was a life that didn't feel like walking on eggshells in my own house. And now I had it. The sun dipped behind the waterline. Boats drifted out in the distance. I took another drink and leaned back, thinking about everything I'd poured into that marriage. The years, the work, the patience, the silence, and what I lost because of it. But now, no one criticizing how I grilled or folded towels or spent my Saturdays. No sideways comments about what kind of man I was. No Eileen on my couch. No Dana tiptoeing around the truth. Just me, the breeze, and the sound of wings getting cold in the box between us. Felt like I won.